Hi, everyone. I'm Michaela. I've known many of you for many years. I'm on the Wild Q3 committee with Kristen, Sarah, and Haley. And I also serve on the Wild Mentorship Committee, which officially launched this year. And we're looking for mentees and mentors. So I encourage you to sign up and be a part of it. It's pretty cool. I want to give a special thanks to Visual Interest for hosting and to our 2024 sponsors. So I'm currently a regional sales manager at Coronet, but I previously merged my agency with Visual Interest in 2011, where I worked for 7 years. Ironically, I left in 2017 due to burnout, which I didn't think was a real thing at the time. It's just as we know, it's like such a fast-paced industry, and it's always so hard to keep up and find balance. So thank yourself, and thank you for showing up today. I know it wasn't easy. And I'd like to welcome Shawna Bigby Davis, who's going to be leading us.
Thank you. And thank you for bringing me in. So we're talking today about reclaiming balance. And that's a really fancy word for saying we're burned the F out and we really need to start taking care of ourselves. So I went to ChatGPT and I asked, how do you heal burnout? And this is what it gave me. Take breaks, do more self-care, make sure that you have an identity outside of work, make sure to practice mindfulness, make sure you get some sunlight, make sure to take some walks, and get some exercise. And I say, duh. Like, you all know that you need to do that. You are probably doing some of that. You are all incredibly talented and smart women. You did not get here because you were lacking something. So no, you have all the tools at your disposal, but for some reason, you give everything to your business, your job, your clients. You get home, and if you've got small children, then you're tending to their needs. And then the last thing you're doing is Netflix and chilling, and you're just trying to stay afloat. Meanwhile, bills are piling up, right? You've got stacks of paper all over your house. You're not sure when the last time you did laundry or who's going to do it. You've got food in your refrigerator, but somehow you're not interested in cooking it or eating it, so you just keep going out every single night, right? Is any of this ringing a bell? Please raise your hand. Okay, we're going to treat today a little bit like a Southern Baptist church. I want to hear amens. I want to hear yes. Oh my God, that's me. You can get loud. You don't have to be reserved. This is a group. This is a collective. Everybody here's got your back. And if you're in this room today, it's because you feel something that you can't describe and you're tired of feeling it. Everyone here is feeling it. Okay? So, yes, amen. That's me. Let's go. You already know what to do, but you're just too burned out to do it. Am I right? The bigger question is, why are you burned out? And this is the question we're going to ask tonight. One of the reasons why you're thinking that you are burned out is you've got projects and timelines and deliverables and relationships. You've got an economy. You've got politics. You've got all sorts of stuff coming at you 24 hours a day. That may be true. What also may be true is you might be helping everybody else before you help yourself. And I'm sure that you've heard this before. If you're in this room, most likely you might identify with the word people pleaser. You might identify with feeling a little bit taken advantage of. We're going to explore that a little bit today. And tonight, what we want to learn is how to recognize, how to reverse, and how to rebuild from the ground up. And we're going to do this through a little bit of education. So hopefully I've made it fun for you. We're going to reverse it with some somatic tools. We're going to do these together. And then we're going to rebuild. You're going to create your own plan, and that is the workbook. I'm going to give you a little introduction of how to do that. You're going to take it home. You're going to build your plan, and you're going to reclaim balance. Woo! That's right. That's right. Okay, if we haven't met, my name is Shawna. I'm the founder of Your Daily. We are a nervous system coaching app. We are designed especially for women. And I've created that app because I used to be a former executive creative director. For 20 years, I worked in advertising. I worked in an industry kind of adjacent to you guys. So I am you. I'm super A-type. I'm overachiever. I'm let's get it done. Started my own agency. Ended up with 20 employees. I found myself with multiple autoimmune conditions, and I couldn't get out of bed. I lost about a third of my hair, couldn't hold a pen, couldn't brush my teeth, y'all. Like, literally, I had to hold the toothbrush with two hands and nod my head a little bit back and forth. Couldn't get out of bed. And the first thing I ask myself is, why? Why and how? How did I get here? And so that is my mission. I sold my agency, and 7 years ago, I went into the rabbit hole. And I came out with somatic trauma therapy credentials, somatic IFS, NLP, CBT, integrative nutrition, and health coaching. And what I do today is I give you tools so that you don't end up in the place that I was. Okay, so if you see this icon, let's make notes in the workbook or make some mental notes, maybe take a picture, whatever is your style, but you've got a workbook and it's there for you. Okay, this is something I had to learn, and I'm still learning on a daily basis, is that your body is always working for you, even if it feels like it's out to get you. I feel like my body was out to get me. Why couldn't I work harder? Why couldn't I work faster? Why couldn't I say sentences anymore? Why was I forgetting things? Why couldn't I hold a pencil, right? Why? Now I'm in perimenopause and I'm like, why can't I lose weight? So every single day I remind myself that my body's not working against me, my body's working for me. What we're going to do today is we're going to decode what our body is telling us, and then that way you can have the tools. So hands, amens, all the things. Do any of these sound like you? You rage out when people take advantage of you. You're quick to anger when small things happen. How about it's the end of the world when things go wrong? Like the smallest thing and somehow you're imploding, right? This is a catastrophe. I can never recover from this. You're paralyzed to get anything done. You're looking at your desk, or you're looking at your workstation, or you're looking at your bills, and you're like, holy F, I have no idea where to even start. Tomorrow. I'll do that tomorrow. Or you shut down in times of conflict. So somebody's yelling, somebody's screaming, somebody's actually maybe not even raising their voice, but they've got presence, and it kind of intimidates you and you withdraw. This, I'm pretty sure y'all feel this right now. You act one way, you feel another. So you're inside, you're angry, you're sad, you're frustrated, and you're just smiling going, how can I help you? What's next? Absolutely, I can get that done for you. No problem. I'm good, thanks. Yeah, it's all good. Okay, so some signs of burnout, some real signs of burnout, like you're deep in burnout. Everyone around you is an idiot. You snap at your loved ones. Lights and sounds and smells, they start to bother you. Everything feels like it's like cranked up to 11. You wake up at night at 2 a.m. every night, or maybe 3 a.m. Does anybody do that? Can't get back to sleep until 6 a.m.? Yeah, we're going to go over that. You're probably the smartest person in the room. Maybe the industry. You're constantly bloated. You're forgetting about things. You're exhausted, but you can't rest. You're so tired. Your head hits the pillow and your eyes flip open, and suddenly you're making a to-do list, right? It's endless. Well, it's not you. That's the good news. It's your nervous system. Who here has heard of nervous system? Nervous system, big buzzword right now. Yay, exciting. We're going to go into a little bit deeper, and we're going to get into some biology. Whatever your body does, it does automatically. You cannot control this. There is no shame. There's no shame in how you react. If you react and you curl down and you avoid that conflict, or you rage out, or you take things personally, that is biology. Okay? There's zero shame in this. And I'm going to crack up a little bit, because we have shamed ourselves as women again and again and again for how we feel. And we've been told that we're too emotional. Emotions are important, and we have shoved them down, and we've quieted them for so long that we don't know what we feel anymore. And so that's where this conflict is arising. We're going to untangle that tonight. So your vagus nerve, otherwise known as your central nervous system, controls everything. It is the remote control for your life. So vagus nerve starts at the back of your neck. It's directly wired into an emotional center that does not think logic. Starts here at the base of your neck, branches down, goes down both sides of your neck, meets again here at the heart, and then connects to every single thing in your body, all the way down to your colon. Your nervous system controls everything you do. All these little quirks that you think are maybe, that's just the way I am, or that's my personality. That is your nervous system at play. That is your nervous system talking to you and talking to everybody else, actually. It controls how you think, what you believe, right? What you respond, how you act, how you sleep, how you digest, how you move your body, and more importantly, how it repairs itself. It is possible to repair yourself. I have 4 autoimmune conditions. They are in remission. It is possible to repair yourself. Yay! So how the nervous system works, in a nutshell, is it's always scanning. So think of it like surveillance system. Boop, 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 always looking. And it's looking for things that are safe. Woo, thank goodness I get to live another day. No tigers, lions, and bears are going to come get me. Or it's looking for a threat. Oh my gosh, do I need to drop everything and run away? What do I need to do? Do I need to fight somebody? What do I need to do? And so it's categorizing safe or unsafe, safe or unsafe. It's the entire job of your nervous system. In a nutshell, that's what it does. Yes, it helps you poop and pee and all breathe and whatnot. It is trying to do this every single second of the day. Am I safe? Am I not safe? And when it senses any amount of danger, it cues a response. We all know that, right? You get flooded immediately with a stress cocktail. You get norepinephrine, you get adrenaline, you get cortisol, you get like all the goodies. And the reason why is because it wants you to do something. This is where it gets a little bit complicated in our modern life. Where the hell are we going to go when someone's yelling at us in email? Where are we going to go when my phone is blowing up with 500 things that I need to look at? Our body sees that as a stress response. So how do we work with that? First, you have to understand what the 3 stages of stress are. So we've always talked about like, oh, I'm stressed. You need a little bit more downtime. It's because you're stressed. Stress kind of gets lumped into this like great big thing over here just called stress. We're going to break it down so you understand it a little bit better, because I guarantee you're stuck in one of these 3 phases: alert, resistance, or exhaustion. Once we understand this and once you understand this, then you can start to unwind it. Alert, we just talked about that. That's, whew, my body just sensed something, I smelled something, somebody came at me, car in front of me jerked, and I had to respond. My boss wants something immediately. My client asked for a revision. I forgot to pay my bills and my lights are getting turned off. Whatever that thing is, that's an alert. This alert is meant to last 1 hour. So all of those stress hormone cocktails that you get, that cortisol, that adrenaline, your body says, you need this for 1 hour. That's all you need it for. 1 hour, you're good. After that, we move into something called the resistance phase, because your body is so stinking smart. So stinking smart. It says wherever there was an alert, I guarantee there's another one right behind it. And so what it does is, even though cortisol and the adrenaline only last for about an hour, it starts to relax the body, but it only does it 80%. 20% stays for about 2 to 4 hours. 20%, a little bit high alert. Hey, what's happening? Just scanning around, just check it out, making sure there's not another alert behind me. And that's because back in the day, 10,000 years ago, when there was lions, tigers, and bears, or maybe like some other clan trying to steal my stuff, if there was one threat, there was another one directly behind it. So after that alert, it moves into this resistance phase where it's like just sort of surveilling everything. It's about 20% of your resources. When I say resources, I'm talking about your blood pressure is high, your veins are pumped full of rich oxygen because your heart's beating faster, you're taking in more, and that's because it's trying to feed all of those muscles that would kick or run or punch, or it's trying to give it to your brain so you can think quicker. In the modern world, we have hijacked this and we're like, I need to get that presentation done. So I am going to pull myself into an alert by procrastinating to the very last second so I can get that adrenaline boost, right? Woo! And what's supposed to happen is after that presentation is done and you've actually relaxed a little bit, you're supposed to hit something called recovery. And you go back into rest and digest. You chill, quiet, serene, still responsive. You're not like dead on the couch, exhausted. No, you're back to being your normal self. You've got good feelings, but you're in rest and digest. The thing is, we don't do that because this is modern life. It's hijacking us constantly. So we get stuck in this alert resistance cycle of death. If we bypass the recovery, we just blow past recovery, we go into the exhaustion phase. How long can we stay in the resistance phase before we hit exhaustion? Any guesses? Who's got 72 hours? Who says 72 hours? Who says 2 weeks? Who says 3 months? How about 10 years? Your body can stay in a resistance phase for 10 years. What does exhaustion phase look like? It looks like sleep disorders, reduced performance, concentration and memory problems. What's that word? I can't remember where I left my keys. Aches, pains, irritability, anxiety, depression, substance abuse. That was me. I was eating, 12 to 18 Advil a day, the high prescription ones, and then drinking about, a fifth of whiskey a night to try and numb the pain. I'll tell you, it didn't work. So I ask you, are you lazy? Which I know you say you are, because on the weekends you're not getting up and doing the things you want to do, because you're not performing at your best, because you're not going the extra mile anymore. I ask you, are you lazy, or are you stuck in the exhaustion phase? Hands up. Who's in the exhaustion phase? Thank you, ladies. Tonight, we're all about turning off that alarm before it gets out of control. We can do that. So yes, it is our biology. Yes, our body says, I'm going to react the way I want to react. We have a little bit of control on, hey, I know this is an alarm. I'm about to hit the resistance phase. I know how to pull myself back. We don't care about the alarm. There's no shame in that. Our body does the thing it does. We're worried about the resistance phase. We're trying to take ourselves out of that resistance phase, back to that recovery zone. So for this, we need to know about the window of tolerance. Anyone know about the window of tolerance? No? Okay. Very quickly, it is, imagine kind of a rough ladder. In this middle here, you want to be regulated. This is where we're calm, cool, collected. This is where we can think. This is where we've got joy. This is where we can play. I remember when my daughter was very young, and she wanted me to play with her, and I just was like, it was so mind-numbing. I was like, what do you mean you want me to play? I just couldn't play. There was no play to be had because I was so stuck in exhaustion zone. If you cannot access joy, if you cannot access play, you are definitely in that exhaustion zone. So this is where we feel good in our body, feel good in our life. This group, I think, probably lives here a lot. And this is anxiety zone. This is where I can't calm down. This is where I'm running all the time. The squirrels are loose, right? They're just going.
Yeah.
I thought that was like, see? Told you, Southern Baptist Church. That's what's happening tonight. So in this area, this is where we call it I'm anxious or I have anxiety. This is where maybe we overreact. This is where we have really unproductive problem solving. At the very bottom, we have something called shutting down. This is where just basically I'm collapsing into myself. I feel numb. I don't feel anything. I don't feel anger. I don't feel joy. I don't feel happiness. I don't feel anything. This is where I'm just sort of whatever you say. I don't care. Or perhaps you can't get out of bed. That's not this group. Now, the tools you need to move from anxious down into regulated are not the same as if you're shut down and want to feel good. So many times you're anxious. You're I just want to jump out of my skin. And everyone's like, go to a breath class, go to yoga. And then you end up worse. And the reason why is because that is activating the breath. You are already up. You need to come down, friend, right? So we're working at things like slower breathing, chilling. We're looking at mindfulness, grounding exercise, putting our feet on the ground, on the earth. Now, if I'm depressed, lethargic, unmotivated, I'm numb, that's where I need to get some energy in my body. We need to juice it up a little bit. So you can see, if I'm already juiced up, doing this some more, it's not going to work. That's actually going to make me more antsy. But because you're incredibly motivated women, I guarantee you're hitting those classes. You're going to spin, you're going to your HIIT class, you're going to your weightlifting class 4 nights a week, whatever it is that you're doing, and you're like, no, I'm going to work this out of my body. Your body's like, I think I need something different. When we are in burnout, we tend to slam back and forth between these. We don't just sort of like stay anxious or stay depressed. We're like roller coaster, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And the thing is, we just kind of pass right by this whole regulated spot, right? Like it's a passing person on the freeway. That's all that is. We want to think about this like a ladder. And you would never run up a ladder going 2 or 3 rungs at a time, or you would never jump down from a ladder. That's terrifying. What we want to do is take small, teeny, tiny little steps forward and back. And it's so boring. And I know that you're like, oh, I don't want to do the boring stuff. Shawna, show me the HIIT class. No, we're doing small, teeny, tiny, boring stuff. Because that's what your nervous system is going to respond to. So what is nervous system regulation? I'm going to go back here for just a second. When we say can't calm down or shut down, these are also 2 different things. Can't calm down is also sex and lust and appeal. That's excitement, right? Like my body feels energized and excited. Shut down also feels grief, sadness. Both of those things are necessary. We have to feel these. We have to feel the full gamut of emotions. The problem is we just keep bypassing them because we're very quickly switching back and forth between the 2. So we don't want to be calm all the time. Nervous system regulation is not about being calm. We are not interested in making you calm tonight. We're not interested in making you calm ever. We are looking for regulated. And what does regulated mean? It means not this. Highs and lows, peaks and valleys. Whew, that's a roller coaster. I'm exhausted by it. What we're looking for is this. Sort of soft, chill, smooth waves. I move in and out, right? I can go up to that high excitement, maybe sexuality. I can move down into a little bit of grief. Maybe I can move down into some sadness, but then I'm able to move back up again. It doesn't take a lot of effort. I don't have to like motivate myself. I don't have to go to therapy for it. I'm moving in and out of these things easily because that is a life that we want to lead and live. That feels good. Feeling everything feels good. So your goal, if there's anything that you get out tonight, your goal is to create capacity for the stressors in your life. And what I mean by that, I got a question once. I said, we're trying to expand this window. We call this the window of tolerance. This is how much stress I can handle before I tip into anxiety or I tip down into depression. And we want to expand that window. And everyone's like, I don't need anything more on my plate. We're not trying to make a bigger plate. We're not trying to put more on your plate. We're not trying to say, hey, you can do more now that you've expanded your stress tolerance. What I'm saying is, we've expanded your stress tolerance that you're moving in and out, really kind of chill, and everything is flowing. Does that make sense? Amen. Can I get an amen? Let's talk about those 5 Fs. You've probably heard a lot about fight or flight, maybe recently about some freeze. We're going to go into 2 more called fold and fawn. So this one, a few of you raised your hands. What state of your nervous system do you think this is? Just shout it out. Fight, right? You're raging out. You're trying to protect yourself. What the F, man? Like, why are you trying to cut me off? Why do you think that you're better than I am? I'm trying to stake my claim. I'm fighting you. What about quick to anger? Also fight. That's right. Quick to anger, you're defending yourself. Come on, my space. End of the world when things go wrong. Flight, yes. Okay, so this is flight, and this was a little confusing for me when I first learned about the nervous system, because I was like, no, this feels like fight to me. Like, it's the end of the world. Like, I want to fight about it. No, it's the end of the world. I'm about to get in trouble, and I got to get the F out of here. Like, someone's going to blame me, and I've got to run. A lot of us feel this as women, especially because maybe we had an overbearing parent, or we had an overbearing teacher, or somebody who was shaming us into conforming, we feel a lot of flight. Paralyzed to get anything done. Freeze. Yes, you guys are such good students. I love it. Freeze. This is exactly what it sounds like. If you were in the animal world, you're like, they don't see me. I'm a bunny. I'm just camouflaged. Maybe the bad thing will go away. What about shutting down in times of conflict? Fold. Yes. So this is fold. You're collapsing, right? Think about folding over. What are you protecting? You're protecting your heart. You're protecting your chest. You're protecting your belly. These are all internal soft organs. Your body's doing that intuitively. Folding over. It feels like it has zero chance in the world to win. And because it has zero chance in the world to win, you just collapse. Fight, you feel like you've got a chance to win. Flee, you feel like you've got a chance to run away and survive another day. Fold, you don't feel like you've got a chance. So your best defense mechanism is to just be small. Act one way, but feel another. We're talking about fawn. So fawn, again, another one that was like a little hard to get my head around. I was like, we're just talking about like a little doe, the deer, a female deer. Like, what are we doing? Fawn is a really interesting thing where we are pushing and pulling at the exact same time. We feel fight or flight. We're trying to protect our space, especially less fight and more flight, right? I'm going to run away. But at the exact same time, we're feeling freeze and fold. I don't think that I can get out of this situation without serious consequences, so I'm going to fold a little bit. The way that we do that is we fawn. We go, of course, no problem. Sure, it's all good. And we smile, we put on a different face, but we feel a different way inside. It's very confusing for our biology because our biology just wants to be true. But we've got this really sophisticated machine right up here that's mucking things up, and it's creating fawn. It's also creating something called functional freeze. This is where you're still getting shit done, but just barely. And it ain't nothing for yourself. You could give it all to somebody else. I barely have any energy for myself. In this room, fawn, functional freeze, fight, flight. Phew, okay. All right, I rarely see that. All right. Love it. Freeze, fold. Yeah, a little bit of everything. Yeah, so you can be both, right? And that's fawn and functional freeze. This is basically where we are pushing and pulling at the same time. I'm pushing because I feel like I'm getting, stepped on, but I tend to do that internally, and I don't really tell you about it. But inside, I'm angry, or inside, I feel like I've been stepped on. Okay, this is where we're going to get to the goodies. This is where so education is done. Education is finished. Your biology class is done. Do we understand what's happening in our bodies? Yes. Okay. Let's move on to how do we fix it? So this video here, by the way, if you are animal sensitive, this impala makes it. There's no blood. A cheetah has gone and tried to attack this impala. The cheetah's mouth is around its neck for a long while. Finally, a hyena comes and it scares the cheetah away. The cheetah runs away. The impala is now sitting here. It has escaped the throes of death. So what is it doing? It's breathing. It's putting its body back online. So when we're talking about that, the alert resistance phase, I'm going to go back online. You're watching this in real time. So what happens is now is the animal is shaking. This is an animal response that we have, well, mammals have. And we as humans have lost this ability, and we don't know if we were trained out of that ability. Maybe it's still there, or maybe humans are just slightly different and we don't have that ability. But every mammal has the ability to shake. And when it shakes off the trauma. Animals are hunted every single hour of the day. There's not a lot of traumatized bunnies out there. Not a lot of traumatized impalas that are just like, oh, another day. They're like, oh, no, I'm going to spring into action. Like, I'm going to go see what's happening over here. How do they do that? They shake off their stress, and then they are able to complete the stress cycle, That's an important concept. Complete the stress cycle, and then they're able to go about their business. So the old way, talk about your problems. I want to gossip to you. I want to tell you all my stuff. I want to tell you everything that happened to my day today. I want to tell you what's happening in my relationship. I want to go to my therapist. I want to tell them everything that's happening. Nothing changes this way. The new way, my body gets to complete that stress response. I get to feel those feelings. I get to act them out. I get to shake. I get to punch. I get to kick. I get to do whatever I need to do. And then I am complete. This is what's healing PTSD around the world right now. This is what's healing autoimmune conditions around the world right now, is people are recognizing their stress responses have been stored up for decades inside this beautiful container, and they have not been let out. Your vagus nerve, that nerve that we talked about, those nerves, 80% of it goes up and 20% of it goes down. What does that mean? It means that we feel before we think. It shoves all the information up to our brain. Our brain goes through the Rolodex of things that have happened to us in the past, and it picks out a response for us. That 20%, that little one-lane highway, it goes down and it says, react this way. Again, you don't have control of that biology, but this is the reason why we have to feel before we think. Somatic triangle. Are you familiar at all with the somatic triangle? No. I'm going to show you one more thing. Maslow's. Have we ever seen the Maslow's? Okay. Somatic triangle says that we are whole, we are complete through emotional, physical, and mental abilities. Maybe also spiritual. A lot of people put spiritual in the middle. We don't see triangles sit like this because they tip over. They're unstable, right? We start at the base. This base here, your emotional and your physical needs come first before your mental needs do. Same thing here, Maslow's hierarchy of human needs. So a really great psychologist named Maslow came up with this like 100 years ago. And he basically said, like, hey, I've noticed that we need to establish safety first. Like, in the grand scheme of human evolution, we need food, water, sleep, we need warmth before we can even start thinking about success or respect or status. This pyramid grows on each other. So I need my physiological needs met first. I need shelter. Then I need my safety needs met. I need to feel safe. I need to feel secure. I need to have good health. I need to feel stable. That means money coming in, or maybe that means like a partner who loves me. Sorry, this is partner who loves me, belonging and love. Only then, once we have these things, can we start working on this. This self-actualization in the world, especially of self-help and internet therapy and real therapy and TikTok therapy, we're always trying to work on our mindset. We're always trying to work on making things better. If I just change my beliefs about myself, then I can make things better. My world will change. We are looking at it from that inverted triangle. We cannot do that because we haven't met our physiological and our safety needs, especially if you were one of those women who raised your hands and you said that I'm in that fawn or I'm in that functional freeze. Your safety needs are not met, period. So we're working on our beliefs all day long, skipping the foundational stuff. So our pyramid is inverted, and it's tipping over, and it's wobbly, and it takes up a lot of space in our mind because we're trying to balance all that. So how do we work on some of these things? We can do some somatic movements. We can get sunlight. We can get good food, warmth, heavy blankets. I love myself a heavy blanket. That makes me feel good. Comfortable environment. If we think about going back to this emotional and physical, this is a somatic hierarchy, right? This is what makes us a whole person. These two things are at the bottom. These two things are at the bottom. Now we can move up to belonging and love. So now we can start to talk about our emotional state. This is resolution of feelings. This is talking to somebody and not feeling like you're going to be disrespected, or maybe actually they're hearing you, listening to you. This is feeling your full range of emotions. This is connecting to others. This is even tapping into spirituality if you're spiritual. Only once we have those things in place can we go to self-actualization. And that's when we're talking about journaling and reframing and meditation. But so often we are taught, if you're stressed out, if you're burned out, if you're exhausted, go journal. If you're tired and you're not getting shit done, reframe what's happening to you. You need to change your beliefs. You need to manifest more. Oh my God. Manifestation. I love me some manifestation, but if you do not have that emotional and physical space rooted, like, what's that? Chakra root. Rooted. If this is not rooted, that stuff is doing nothing for you. Can I get an amen? Amen. Okay, so top down. You've heard of some of these things before. We call them top down. So basically, we're starting with the mind, we're working down. And this is talk therapy or CBT. This is group and community therapy, guided imagery, meditation, prayer, hypnosis. Basically, if it involves your brain, this is a top-down therapy. These are wonderful therapies. I am not poo-pooing these. I do these on a daily basis. I love them. This is not where we're starting. We are starting here. If you are burned out, if you are here today, as you said before, when you first started this workshop, this is where we're starting. We're starting bottom up, y'all. Somatic movements, bilateral stimulation. And what that means is I'm tapping on both sides of my body and I'm engaging both parts of my brain. If both parts of my brain are engaged, I cannot be in fight or flight. So doing some somatic movements like this really work. Meditative hobbies like gardening, sewing, cooking. What do these things have in common? I'm using my hands. I'm using my body. I'm putting my hands in fiber. I'm putting my hands in soil. I'm reconnecting to nature. Binaural beats. Does anyone listen to binaural beats? Fantastic tool. Again, because the way they work is it is a frequency in one ear and a different frequency in another ear. Your brain interprets a third frequency. Because it has to use both parts of your brain to do that, again, we're taking ourselves out of fight or flight. So anything that has to do with the body, acupuncture, Tai Chi, yoga, biofeedback, these are all bottom-up therapies. So what happens if, this is really wonderful, Shawna, tomorrow I've got a presentation due or I've got a client that's breathing down my neck, I can't get my coworker to finish their part of the project, oh my God, I wanna go in the back and like scream a fit. What can you do for your body? Here are 4 things we're going to practice together right now. They are quick, they're easy, they're less than 30 seconds. These are things you can do at your desk. You can do them in a car. You can do them in the bathroom. You can do them wherever you want. So physiological sigh, let's start there. You have done this a million times in your life and you didn't know it. Physiological sigh is when you're trying to stop yourself from crying. And it goes like this. How many times have you done that? Just 2 quick sniffs. A breath out. Now, if you do it too many times, you're going to make yourself excited. So we only want to do this maybe 2 or 3 times. Physiological sigh. You can do it in a meeting and no one knows that you're doing it. They might just think you have a sniffle. The basic exercise. Does anyone know this one? Okay. All right. Okay. If you can, without knocking out your neighbor, take your hands and put them behind your neck. Again, I'm in a meeting. I kind of look like I'm just maybe stretching. Like dudes do this all the time, right? Like I can do this. Okay. We're going to lean, and you're going to lean with me. We're not going to do this. Okay. I don't know who you are already yawning, but it's fantastic. We're going to lean, and our eyes are going to go to the opposite side. And we're going to stay here until we sigh, swallow, or yawn. If you didn't do it right now, that's okay. It can take up to a minute, especially if you're in a high stress response or if you're already chill. And then we're going to do the other side. This is a reset button for your nervous system. You can come on back. So a lot of people, after they do this, they blink their eyes a lot, they yawn. I hear that people's stomachs growl or they burp. And the reason why is because you've gone into rest and digest. Your digestion, which has been offline, however long you've been stressed, finally came back online. See, there we go. Fantastic. You're all relaxed now. Seated cat-cow, and that's, I'm going to do this here. I'd say seated because if you're at work, sometimes it's a little awkward for you just to do some yoga moves. But you can do this. Get in a little bit of flexion in that spine. You can't get flexion in your spine if you're running away from something, if you're fighting something. So getting flexion actually helps move you out of fight or flight and into rest and digest. Your body automatically says, okay. And then the fourth one is nostril breath. You might have done this in a yoga class. We're not doing the yoga pre or post. We're just doing the nostril breath. And the way it looks is this. Again, you could probably do this discreetly at your desk. I'm going to take my finger and my thumb. I'm going to close one nostril and I'm going to inhale through it. I'm going to close the other one. I'm going to blow out of it. You can do this just a couple moments, 30 seconds. Helps calm you down. The slower that you can breathe out, the better. So inhale can be sharp if you need it to be. The exhale is twice as long. We're trying to get into that chill flow state. It's going to get there. These are your emergency shut-off valves, right? So these are your immediate tools if I just feel like I am about to slam my car into somebody else because they've cut me off for the 5th time and I'm done with them. Okay, I'm just going to sit here in my car and maybe do some nostril breathing. Or maybe I'm going to do the physiological sigh. Okay? So what, again, we're going back to is we're not trying to stop that immediate alarm that we get. We're trying to deal with that resistance phase, get ourselves back into rest and digest. Okay, so in your notebook, you have a whole section here on what fight looks like from a physical or an emotional state. After every state, there's a section here called moving out. And so these are tools that you can do for yourselves to move out of that state. You know what state you're in, or you will know what state you're in after tonight. Use that tool to figure out what you need to do. And you're going to create your own personal plan. You're going to create your own toolbox. You're going to write down what you need on an emotional level to feel safe. You're going to write down what you need on a physical level to feel safe. And the reason why you're writing this down is because you already got enough shit swimming around in your head. Write it down. Put it down on a piece of paper. And then here you're going to work on mental things that you can do. Here are some ideas for your mental, emotional, physical states. I've already filled them in for you, but what I want and what you want are totally two different things. And so if you look, there is suggestions on how to do this. So here are the suggestions. And then inside the workbook, I'm going to borrow your workbook one more time. There is a blank page for you to fill out your own. Tear this out and put it somewhere you're going to see it. That's on your bathroom mirror, if that's bedside table before you go to bed, if that's at work, wherever that needs to be. And this is going to be your toolbox. Whenever I'm feeling hyper stressed, or if I'm feeling shut down, or I'm feeling like I don't know what I'm feeling, I'm going to tap into one of these tools. These are tools that make me feel good. And to cement that, you're going to use habit stacking. So in here is a little contract with yourself inside of your workbook. And it says, I will, whatever that habit is, right? I'm going to, here's one that I'd love for you to do. I am going to turn off my phone at 9 p.m. We'll go 10. I'm going to turn off my phone at 10 p.m. so that I can become, and then what's the type of person that you want to be? Calm, cool, collected. I want to get out of my funky space. I want to become somebody who works out, but I'm too tired to do it right now. I want to become somebody who gets the promotion, but I'm not being seen right now because I'm in collapse all the time. Whatever that type of person that you want to be, write that down. So that contract is in there with yourself. Here's one. I'm going to vagal tone and tree shake. Tree shake looks like this. If I'm feeling antsy, feeling anxious, I tree shake. I'm going to do that when I wake up in my bedroom. This is actually really good for people who are stuck in depression. tree shake gets that energy going. So you do that when you wake up in my bedroom so I can feel confident and energetic. And then in the very back of your workbook, you've got something here where it's a planner. And you can make yourself a little journal, right? You can say, hey, these are the daily routines that I want to start creating for myself. I'm going to drink all the water that I say I'm going to drink. I'm going to actually go to sleep. I'm going to put myself to bed at a good, appropriate time. I'm going to actually wake up when I say I'm going to wake up. I'm going to do the things I'm going to do. Promises start with you. So often, tangent, by the way, so often we want other people to respect us. And they don't respect us because we don't respect ourselves. And they can see it a mile away, so they continue to walk all over our boundaries. You're like, no, I put my boundaries down. They continue to walk over them because you don't respect yourself. This is how we learn how to respect ourselves. We keep one tiny promise a day to ourselves. You don't have to fill up this whole thing. You can do one. I'm not going to scroll on Instagram tonight or ever past 9 p.m. That's one promise that you can keep to yourself. It's my parting gift to you. You are strong. You are resilient. You are resourceful. Thank you. Be well. I hope that you learned something tonight. If you have any questions, I am here to answer them, do a little Q&A. I do want to share that we have the app, and there is an entire library of somatic exercises. So if you're new to somatic exercises, you don't know what they are, but you want to start tapping into them, download our app, check it out. And then tonight we have a whole host of journals. So if this little workbook was not enough for you, we've got a self-coaching journal available for purchase. What's that? Thank you. It's called a self-actualization journal, and the first 45 pages are tools and templates for you to fill out. And then once we get to the middle here, there's our journal prompts. We do not do daily journal prompts of tell me what you're grateful for today, because we're not trying to work in that headspace. We're trying to work from bottom up. So there are prompts in here for depression, for anger, for rage, for self-criticism. It goes beyond what you are typically seeing in a lot of journal prompts. So if you would like that tonight, the Wild Women get a discount at $26. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being brave. Thank you for participating. And I really hope that this resonates, that you take away at least a single tool for yourself tonight. Amen. Amen. And we start working back into that rest and digest. Thank you. I suggest that we practice these 4 times a day, non-negotiable. Usually you pick one movement that you're going to do, and I'm going to do it 4 times a day. And I'm going to do it when I first wake up, before I eat lunch, before I eat dinner, before I go to bed. And the reason why, and that's 4 times a day, we're talking like 30 seconds. So put an alarm on. And then what happens is your body starts to automatically reach for that tool, especially if we build the muscle. So if you go to the gym and you haven't been to the gym ever, or you haven't been to the gym in 2 years, and you walk over to the 50-pound weight, it's going to feel like a struggle, right? We're taking ourselves to the emotional gym. We're walking over, we're taking up like that 5-pound weight. So practicing a move for 30 seconds, 4 times a day, this is us doing a 5-pound weight. And I guarantee you can do it 4 times a day. Now, the reason why morning, before lunch, before dinner, and then before bed is when we first wake up, we want to stay relaxed. Sometimes, actually, it's hilarious, we can actually sleep stressed. You're like, oh, I don't feel very restful. It's because you slept stressed. Your body didn't get a chance to like truly repair itself because it was listening and out for danger. Before you eat both lunch and dinner, the reason why I want to do it then is because your body, if you're in a stress state, especially if you work in a high-paced environment, your digestion is probably offline. You do not want to dump food into a system that is offline. So we want to take it back online, right? So we'll do it then. Same thing before dinner. And then just before I go to bed, so I actually have restful sleep so that I can wake up feeling rejuvenated. Does that make sense?
It does. And if it's already planned in, then even if I'm still spinning as I go to lunch, I at least now have something to interrupt it.
Yeah.
Having to remember.
You don't have to remember. And then what happens is, and I thought, honestly, I really, really thought it was BS when somebody told me that too, right? I was like, whatever. I swear to you, your body starts to automatically reach for that tool, whatever it is that you choose, again and again and again. Because it's like, I feel stressed. I remember feeling good when I did that thing. Well, I want to feel good again. And so it'll automatically start to reach for that tool. Yes. Oh, shame is my favorite topic. Shame is a little bit more complicated because shame is conditioning. Shame comes from parental figures in whatever fashion, right? We'll just call them parents. Could be church, could be school, most likely it's parents. There's a lot of conditioning that happens for you to act appropriately. And the best way that our society knows how to do that is through shame. And so, because with shame, I don't have to teach you a coping mechanism. I just teach you how to comply. And so, yes, you can use these tools to help you work through that shame and that feeling, but it's going to take a longer time and it's going to take more tools. So we can talk maybe more offline on like what shame is and like how you can dismantle it in your own life. But shame is not just inside my household, it's also inside of our society, right? Especially as women, we are shamed for being too thick or too thin or too brown or too white, too tall or too thin, like too short. It doesn't matter what you are, you're wrong. And you constantly have to change to some invisible standard that is going to change 3 years from now with whoever the new celebrity is. So this shame that we feel it's really an onion in deconstructing. The first thing you do is you start with your tools, and then you just keep working back. Now, I do a lot of something called somatic experiencing, and that's where we really get to like some deep level shame and core memories. And those typically are what has to, like if you are still dealing with shame, that's what typically has to happen, is like there needs to be some sort of dealing with the initial traumas of it. Have I answered your question? Okay. Yeah. At super intense times of hormonal change, puberty, pregnancy, perimenopause or menopause, right? Like sort of like the 4 big ones. When we're in any of those, it is absolutely dysregulating. And so that's why building up a tool set for yourself is important. But that's where nervous system regulation starts to actually have more layers in terms of food and exercise. And so it's not just what movements can I do today. It's a little bit more nuanced, and it starts to need more support. But it absolutely is dysregulating. Yeah. And so even if your hormones are totally imbalanced, but you're still having sleeping problems, it might be a blood sugar regulation issue, which is nervous system regulation. So if you're not eating enough calories, and I guarantee this entire lot here is not eating enough calories per day. If you're not eating enough calories, your body, what it does, you're sleeping, your body's trying to repair itself. It's like, I don't have calories to like do this thing that I need to do. So what it does is it's like, hey, I remember I got some fat hanging around. I'm going to go tap into that so I can go get some calories. In order to tap into the fat, it turns on adrenaline and cortisol, which is the reason why you wake up at 2 a.m. and you can't get back to sleep until 6 a.m. because that adrenaline lasts that 2 to 4 hours, right? So if you're waking up every single night, 2 to 4 or 3 to 6, that kind of situation, I guarantee it's you haven't had enough calories, you haven't had enough carbohydrates, your blood sugar is off. I would go there before I went hormones. Those are the things that make your hormones go off.
I know. I was going to keep talking.
Oh, in your children? How many people heard this from their parents? Are you going to wear that? Questioning everything that they do. Are you sure you want to eat that? Are you sure you want to play with that person? Are you sure you want to hang out with that person? Are you sure you want to do that today? Asking questions while we think we're empowering them, we're actually slightly shaming them. This is not quite the same shame as like, you are not doing a good job and you're a bad person. But these are like little erasures of somebody who's like, shit, I don't know what I like. I thought I liked this outfit, but I guess I don't, right? So constantly questioning our children as opposed to just like letting them tell us. Now, I'm not a child psychologist. It's not totally my wheelhouse, but these are like little things that you can look out for. And then it's just conditioning. Like, make sure that you say please and thank you. Those are niceties, right? You're trying to teach your children, but you're like, now I want you to go up and hug Haley. Well, like, and if you don't, then you don't want people to think that you're bad, do you? You don't want people to think that you're stubborn, or you don't want people to think whatever. Like, those little things start to instill shame. Yeah, because you go against your own biology. You're like, that's uncomfortable. Yeah, because they're not safe. Those people are not safe. I have a question for you. How many of you grew up in this country? Everybody. Okay, here's the other question. How many of you grew up outside of this country? Okay. So outside of the country, we see a lot more shame, a lot more social conditioning, right? Like women should do something, and like men have more masculinity and machismo and things like that. We see a lot more shame happening in those cultures. But we have it here. It's like, it's insidious. It's quiet. And if you listen, it's there. Okay. Yeah.